welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're looking at NFL draft prospect Cam Skattebo. We're going to be talking about why this might be a good pick for the Washington Commanders if he is available in this upcoming NFL draft. And so before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, first, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to hit Terry McLaurin for a lot of touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. So make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, we are going to go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so once again, looking at NFL draft prospects here. And so we are looking at Cam Skattebo, who was a running back that played for Arizona State. And so there are a lot of things that I love about him as a player. And I think that these are some things that certainly could translate to the Washington Commanders and really the NFL. I think that he could be a spectacular player. And so let's start with number one. He is a physical runner. I think that when you turn on the tape, his ability to dish out punishment to the defenders, like I love that. I love the fact that he runs with the pad level and he's always leaning forward. And that to me suggests that this is going to be a running back that is going to always create extra yardage. And I'm starting to think of just yards after contact. He could be a real possible candidate for leading the NFL in this department if he gets the appropriate playing time from day one. And it kind of reminds me of Bucky Irvin, right? Like I think that this is the type of back that's going to be able to get out of tackles and really just dish punishment. In fact, here's one of the ESPN stats about that. He had 110 broken tackles. Only Ashton Genty had more. And so that just lets you know just how much contact that he was in and how much tackles he was able to slip. And so that is point number one, terrific physical runner. And so next up is going to be the balance. And so I love his balance. I like the fact that when he does get hit, when he's running through traffic, running through the trash and everything else, he is able to hold his balance and he still doesn't decelerate. It looks like that he's still actually on pace with his original kind of speed as he's starting and bursting through the hole and stuff like that. And so you love that he's able to get through the line of scrimmage, take contact, get hit in the open field and still push forward at a good pace. And so does he have breakaway speed? No, but that is the difference from getting a couple extra yards on the back half of a run. And so I love his balance and I love the way that he's able to kind of push forward that way. Next up, I think he had some great hands. I think that when I looked at just his ability to catch the football in the screen game, there was one time where the quarterback's on the run and finds him. He looks like that he has terrific hands as far as being able to pluck the football out of the air at the proper point and just get it at the high point. And so that is great to see. You get a lot of running backs that maybe that's something that they have to kind of grow into, but I think that he's a player that from day one, you could immediately use him in the screen game. And I think he would be a very good fit for the Washington Commanders and could be an impact right there from day one. And so next up, I think that as far as being a gold line running back, and I'm talking about like gotta have it type of stuff, I think he's the guy that is going to get it into the end zone. And I also think that he would be the player that if you need to get a 4th and 1, 4th and inches, or 4th and inches, 4th and 2, you would definitely get Cam Skattebo. I think that he's the type of player that will find the first down marker. And so that is another thing that I love about him. And so when you look at the productivity shows that, man, this could be a really solid running back at the next level. And so just starting with his path to get to this level, I mean, he started at Sacramento State and he eventually transferred, but man, he took a major jump. He went from 57 carries his first season there, 520 yards, and he had 6 touchdowns on a 9.1 average. To the next season, he went to 195 carries, and then he went over 1,000 yards there. He had 7 touchdowns. He had a 7-yard average. Then he went over to Arizona State University, had 164 carries, 783 yards, 4.8 was the average, and 9 touchdowns. But man, this was his last season where he actually finished 5th in the Heisman votes. And so look, he had 293 carries, over 1,000 yards. So 1,711 yards to be exact, 5.8 was his average, but 21 touchdowns. And as far as his receiving and talking about his hands and how good he could be as a receiver, he went from 12 receptions in his first year in college up to 45 receptions at Arizona State University, which was the most. And he had 605 yards, and his average went from 10.3 up to 13.4. He also tied his career high in touchdowns in receiving with 3, and he also had a tie of career long yards on a reception with 66. And so, look, there is a lot of production that can be had, I think, in the passing game with him. And so there's a ton of upside. And I think with the running aspect of things, you just worry probably about just with how much wear and tear he probably had there. But man, I think that if he can prove that look, he's still got a lot left in the tank, then I think, man, that you have a very good running back here, because this is a guy that posted, I think, 100 plus yards rushing. So that's phenomenal in what he did there. The ability to get to 100 yards. But man, I just love the fact that he's able to kind of make the right reads just to get into the second level. And he doesn't necessarily have home run type of speed. I was looking here on NFL Draft Buzz. I think he only ran a 4.6. And I think at the combine, he was dealing with a hamstring injury, and he didn't actually run it, but he did have a 39.5 vertical jump, which was 5th amongst offensive skill players. And so that's big. You see the athleticism there. And so, look, man, I think that this is a guy that he just, probably from the measurables, it's not something that's going to wow you. But when you look at the tape and you just look at the productivity, it looks like a player that screams like that is going to just have some real production at the NFL level. And I like what was talked about here on NFL Draft Buzz when they compared him to Maurice Jones Jr. Like, I could see that, or Maurice Jones-Drew, excuse me. He reminds you of that type of running back that played for the Jacksonville Jaguars back in the day. And I love too, at the end of this too, if you go look at this profile, it says that, look, he fits the mold like NFL backs like Alfred Morris and then James Robinson, a guy who repeatedly proved the draft analysts wrong through production over flash. And so I think that just really hits the nail right on the head. I think that the production is going to be there, not the flashiest guy. And if you're talking about Alfred Morris, I would take that type of production any day from a running back if you're getting them out of the draft, because going back to what Alfred Morris did in 2012, all the way up to 2014 for us. Look, he had over 1,000 yards in 2012, 1,613 yards. He had 1,275 yards, and then he had 1,074 yards in 3 seasons with the Washington Commanders. And so, look, that is terrific production if you can get Cam Skattebo. And so I think if he is available day 2, day 3, I think the Washington Commanders certainly would just have to consider taking him, because I do think that he could really turn into a 3-down back. I feel like that there's really some untapped potential there. I think some of the weaknesses that they talk about is maybe he's just not refined as maybe a pass blocker. But one of the things that they say is that, hey, look, it's not like he's not willing to go out there and make the contact. It's just about just getting technically sound in that department. And that's just fine, because, look, any NFL draft prospect or anybody coming into the NFL, they're going to have to refine their skills to be better as professionals. And so you don't mind that at all. I think he would be a solid pickup here. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Cam Skattebo. Would you take him as the running back, possibly for the future as RB1 for the Washington Commanders? Because I think he'd be a terrific fit for Jay Daniels. Love to hear what your thoughts are. And as we always say around here, go Commanders. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.